Hi, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Eric Balliance. I am an unlimited tonnage sea captain, as well as a lecturer at Cal Poly Maritime in the Marine Transportation Department. I am also a researcher and graduate student at the Goldman School of Public Policy at UC Berkeley. And I am studying the electrification of marine transportation. So, first thing I want to get into is why. Why am I applying to this award, and why do I feel this is so important? So, everybody knows about global warming. Most people subscribe to the idea that the climate is changing due to the pollutants that we put in the atmosphere. Shipping as a whole, global shipping, puts more CO2 into the atmosphere than all of the cars in the United States combined. I think that's largely well known, but one of the reasons, in addition to that, one of the reasons that I get so fired up about the electrification of shipping is also because of disparity. The metaphor that I like to use is the internet. So what's the greatest thing the internet ever did? It democratized the movement of information, right? So anybody with an internet connection has the same access to information as anyone else. So it's great for information. It's been for the most part, it's been great. I mean, social media notwithstanding, the free movement of information has progressed society largely. But what about things? What about the stuff in the real world? That is largely constrained by the price of a barrel of oil. It costs money and energy to move things in the real world. So I believe the effect that has on society is that some people just don't have stuff. If you've ever been to a hospital in a low or middle income country, you will be struck by the fact that they just don't have the same equipment that we have at a hospital here in the US, that we're fortunate enough to have here in the US. And I believe that if we could alleviate some of the cost that's associated with the movement of things, we could also alleviate the part of the disparity problem. It would be just less expensive to move things, and that would free the movement of things in the same way that information is largely unrestrained due to the innovation of the internet. Okay, so that's it. Pollution and disparity, right? By electrifying shipping, I believe in the biggest picture sense, we could take a pretty good stab at reducing those problems in the world, right? But how is this going to happen? So I believe it's three beautiful words. We have to be careful about saying beautiful now, but battery electric containers, right? So I would encourage you to Google the Green Water 1 and Green Water 2. They are two ships that operate between Shanghai and Nanjing. And they use battery electric containers as their sole source of propulsion back and forth between those two ports. And so what the battery electric container does is it's a swappable battery electric container. So it's like the same containers you see on ships. They have batteries in them, and when they're empty, they take them off, and when they're full, they put them on. And that is the energy source they use to propel the ship. It's what they use to move the ship, in the same way that bunker fuel is what we use now to move ships. They use electricity. So if you'll just imagine with me for one moment, if you've ever driven on Interstate 10 through West Texas, you will have seen, first of all, it's flat as the day is long, and you see these oil derricks, just littered all across the landscape. If we could innovate a ship that uses battery electric containers and then scale that up to be a significant part of the maritime transportation industry, It doesn't take much imagination to visualize containers just all across this flat area in West Texas, collecting solar radiation to power these containers. You could also connect them to wind turbines, and it's all free, right? You have all of these containers. You have battery electric container farms, we'll call them, and they're connected to renewable energy mechanisms to fill up their batteries, right? So you have these containers, and then you can put them on trains, and then you take them to the Port of Oakland, and then you swap them out, and you've in effect created a free, not including, of course, the cost to make the materials that utilize these technologies, but you've in effect created a way to cut the largest cost to ship owners, which is always the cost of energy. It's not manpower, it's not building the ships, it's the energy cost that really makes moving things expensive in the world. So that would be awesome as far as I can tell. And that's what I've been dedicating all of my energies towards the last, several years. What we're doing, and I've hit a lot of dead ends in trying to realize this technology because it's sort of unknown. There are little pockets here and there of countries that are trying to develop the electrification of shipping, but it hasn't really taken hold yet. So what we're trying to do is create a framework by working with the policy experts at Goldman, researchers and scientists at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, ship builders right here in the Bay Area, to try to imagine how we can make a system that would take hold in the business community. We're trying to create frameworks that say, like, look, this isn't just something that we want to do because of any kind of agenda that different NGOs and might want to pursue, but it's something that just makes good business sense, right? And so what we're researching right now are marine highways that could alleviate some of the congestion on the roads for trucks. So we're pursuing that right now. We're just looking at the feasibility of building these ships in the United States. Thankfully, we're at a point in time where people are excited about building ships in America again. It seems like the only thing that Republicans and Democrats can agree on right now is we need to build ships in America. So there's a lot of momentum towards developing this technology. So we're trying to sort of ride that wave, as it were, to say, like, look, if we're going to build ships in America, we might as well just try to leapfrog some of the other countries that have sort of more maturity in building ships and start developing new ways of moving things, not just for the good reasons of alleviating disparity and pollution in the atmosphere, but because it just makes sense. It makes good business sense to cut the biggest cost to a company. So that's just sort of the general pitch that I often give to people who have talked to me for maybe more than 5 minutes. They're probably going to hear all about why I think this is so important. And I'm just glad that you've taken the time to look over my application as we try to popularize this concept. We just really hope that it takes hold and more people see the enormous potential that exists in battery electric ships. So thanks for the time, and see you around, I guess. I hope. All right, bye. Thank you.